Hey, babe, how are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Today is a nice, easy, relaxed day. It's actually, as we record this, it's Friday. We're getting ready to go on one of our adventures, and we're going to be going to, what is it, Glenmont?
Glenmont, Ohio. It's the Mohican Festival or something like that.
Yeah, the Mohican Bluegrass Festival. We're going to see some of our favorite people. There's a bluegrass band of ours. It's 5 guys, and we really, really like 3 of them. And I
won't tell you who they are.
I won't tell you which 3 we really like. 2 of them are okay.
2 of them are just okay.
Yeah, they're just okay. But yeah, so today we're going to talk about the prom incident. But before we get into all of that, I have a question for you.
For me?
Yes. So one of the things that I think has made our lives interesting is that we haven't stayed in one place too terribly long, kind of like our dog outside. She's running from window to window. But we haven't stayed in a place for too long. So when we married, we lived in Mississippi. And then right when Bethany was getting ready to go to kindergarten and Caleb was just born, we decided to move to Tennessee. He was a few years old, and then we moved to Kentucky about 18 years after that. So my question is, if we weren't living in Kentucky right now, if you could pick one other place to live, where would you pick and why?
Hawaii.
Like a realistic place.
Why can't that be realistic? There are hospitals there.
I mean, I'm down for that. I'm good for that. It's just, houses there are 400% higher than they were 10 years ago.
Well, we can make it work.
Okay. I'll say that. Since you took Hawaii, I am going to say, I do love visiting this place, and I'm not sure I would love to live there just for various reasons. But I really, really like the Colorado area. I'm not sure I would want to live there because
cold.
Well, that's cold and snow go good together. When it's cold and dreary and wet and muddy, that's terrible. But a few years ago, I went to Colorado to film something with my buddy Steve, and I just fell in love with it out there. Every view is beautiful, and it seems like every town or city out there, they do a great job of making sure that the people there have outdoor activities, whether it's winter or summer, snowboarding, skiing in the winter. In the summer, it's kayaking, biking, hiking, whatever. I know I don't look like I would like that activity, but I really think I probably would like that.
I could love to see you snowboarding, babe.
Hey, I'm a great skier, as we will talk about in one of our
That
upcoming...
was before you had shoddy knees, though. You couldn't do that now. We have to embrace our aging process.
All right, so let's get back on track.
I feel like he's going to edit that out.
I am definitely not going to edit that out. So let's get back to our original. So you would argue I know we've only been to one island on Hawaii, but what island would it be?
I don't know. I would really like to visit Maui next because I've heard it's more chill. I mean, I loved Oahu and the scenery there is gorgeous, but I wouldn't mind going to Maui and seeing.
Yeah, I think Maui or Kauai will be our next trip. Everybody that's been to Kauai says that that's the one we need to go to next. And then, of course, the Big Island, I think I would really like. I've heard great things about the Big Island. So stay tuned. We will most likely be visiting one or all of those in the future. Okay, not near future, but
probably another year or so. Can I let her in?
Yeah, we're gonna take a break and get started with the podcast while she lets our dog in because our dog is going crazy in the backyard.
Welcome to Loving Our 25 to Life. I'm Heather.
And I'm Bo. Together we've been married over 25 years.
Yeah, baby!
And this is where we talk about life, love, and all the adventures we have had along the way.
Oh, wow.
Whether we're sharing stories from our marriage or taking you along one of our trips, we're here to reflect on how we've made it this far and where we are headed next.
So grab a seat, settle in, and let's dive into another episode of Loving Our 25 to Life. Okay, so today we are going to be talking about the infamous, I'm probably only infamous to us, but the infamous prom. So why don't you start and let's kind of get the conversation going, but let's talk about what you remember about the prom.
Okay, so also this episode is going to be a little bit different because later we're going to bring my mom in to tell her side of the story because it really doesn't match either one of our sides of the story. So, but she loves to tell it. So we're going to let her come on later and tell her side. But so when Bo and I went, we were in 6th grade, we went to church together. And then throughout from 6th grade to college, we either went to church together, went to school together, worked together. Somehow there was always a way that we were connected. When we weren't going to school together anymore, we ended up at the same church. And then my family left that church and then we ended up working at the same place. And so we pretty much spent our middle school, junior high school years together. And so 11th grade prom rolled around, and I know you guys are going to find this really hard to believe, but I didn't have the guys knocking down my door wanting to take me to prom, and I didn't want to go by myself, and Bo and I were pretty good friends at the time, and so I went and asked him. I drove over to his house, and I said, hey, would you go to my prom with me? Because at that time, we were going to different schools, and I said, would you go to my prom with me? And I made it very clear, just as friends. I didn't want anything. I didn't want a relationship. I didn't want to date anybody. I just wanted to go, have a good time, and all the things. So he agreed, and we made all of our plans. And I think you planned out the date, like where we were going to eat and all that. Mm-hmm. And I told him, I said, I want to pay for myself. Like, I bought your prom ticket. Of course, they weren't nearly as much as they are these days. And I said, if we could go to dinner or whatever, I'll pay for mine. You pay for yours, because I didn't want any ideas of it being a date or anything like that. So we went to Red Lobster. Of course, we're dressed. I have this prom dress that my aunt let me borrow. It's black and white, and he's wearing his tux. And we go to Red Lobster, and I think we got crab legs or something. And the first crab...
You got crab legs. And indirectly, I got crab legs.
I'm telling my side of the story.
Go ahead.
You get to tell yours in a minute. So I was cracking a crab leg or something, and it splattered all over Bo's face and his tuxedo and everything else. And I felt awful. But we went to the prom, and I mean, it was my high school. So he knew some people there, but not a whole lot. But I got frustrated because he wouldn't dance with me. Like, I wanted to dance, and I know this is going to shock a lot of y'all, but I had really low self-esteem when I was in high school. And so I didn't want to get out there and embarrass myself. And I didn't want people pointing and laughing at me and all that kind of stuff. So, but I got frustrated with him because he wouldn't go out there and dance with me.
Correction. And I would slow dance. But I wouldn't fast dance. I want to make
you're
that
doing
clear.
This. I need you to do this. So anyway, we stayed, but we didn't stay the whole time, but we stayed for a while, and then he took me home, whatever. Well, then one day later in the next week, he showed up at my house. My mom and I at the time lived in an apartment complex, and he showed up at my mom's apartment, and off and on throughout middle school and high school, he would write me these really long, sweet letters that I still have some of them. And yes, I do. Quit shaking your head
False.
at me. And so he shows up my door, and he's got this big, thick 17-page, or if you're a Friends fan, 18 pages front and back letter thing. So he hands it. My mom answers the door, and he hands it to her, I guess. I don't know where I was or something. I don't know. So when I got it, I just assumed it was another one of those letters. So I was frustrated, and I just went and I threw it in the trash. Didn't open it, didn't read it. And then later I found out, I don't know how we got to talking about it. I'm sure you remember, so you can tell it when you tell your side of the story. But he told me later that it wasn't a letter. It was the money to pay me back for my dinner that I paid for myself, because he did not want me to pay for my own Red Lobster dinner. So I'm laughing because as we're doing this, my cat just laid down and his tail is swishing over Bo's podcasting equipment. But anyway, that's how I remember it. That's the prom incident that we went. He wouldn't dance. He tried to give me his money back. I thought it was a letter and I threw it away.
Well, you didn't mention the best part about what your mom.
I was going to let her talk about that because I don't remember that. I don't know if I don't know. I don't remember. Had I taken the letter and gone back into the apartment?
I don't know. So what I remember is all of that is accurate. We went to the prom. We went to Red Lobster. You drenched me in
did not drench.
Crab
so
leg
dramatic.
Juice.
Dramatic.
And I would slow dance or medium dance, but I was not going to get out there and like cut a rug because I was just as insecure as you were, and there were 900 people at your prom because you went to a very popular high school, and there were 900 people there. At my prom, there were 60 people, maybe, whatever. So I was a little intimidated. However, Heather is right. So I think I mentioned it on our last podcast that I was the type of kid that never would let stuff go. So like, it wasn't just like girls or whatever, but it was like my friends too. Like if I had a friend that could come over, I would bug the crap out of them, to spend the night or to stay over another day or what. Like I couldn't just leave well enough alone. I had to, keep wanting more, keep whatever. And I would keep bugging my friends till they finally would not want to have anything to do with me because I was annoying, and I never caught on to that. Looking back now, and when I see kids that act like I did then, it makes me cringe because I know I was that kid. And I was the same way. So whenever you and I would do stuff as friends, I would think, well, maybe she likes me more than a friend. And so I would end up writing a letter with my feelings and blah, blah, blah. And it never worked out. However, this particular time, you made it clear we were just friends. It was nothing more. So we did go eat at Red Lobster. You paid for your own, and I wasn't going to let you pay for your own. I mean, it had nothing to do with me wanting you to be my girlfriend. It's just the gentlemanly thing to do. I was going to pay for your meal. And so what I had thought would be super funny is because you had made it clear you didn't like all these long letters and whatever. So all it was, there wasn't one letter scribbled on any. I took 20 sheets of paper, wrapped up your money, stuffed it in an envelope, and I had planned on giving it to you and having you open it because I figured you would give me the speech about how you didn't want me to, you didn't like me, blah, blah, blah. And I would just say, open the letter, and then I would make you open it, and then I would explain it to you. Well, I'm going to ruin this for your mom so she can tell her side of the story. I get to the door, and I assume you must have told her something about how mad you were that I wouldn't dance or whatever. So I get to the door, knock on the door. She opens the door, looks at me, slams the door in my face. And so I knock on the door again. She opens the door. I said, would you at least just give this to Heather? Gave her the envelope. She shuts the door again. I can't remember. It was either her or your dad that slammed the door in my face. She can clarify that. I can't remember if it was her or your dad. One of the two, because they had apartments right next to each other. That's a story for a different day. They had apartments right next to each other, but it may have been him that slammed the door, and then she opened it the second time because your dad did not like me at that age. So I'm sure
my dad didn't like any boy at that age.
But I think it was your dad that slammed the door on me the first time, and she opened it back up, and I said, would you please give this to Heather?
We'll find out because she's not here right now, but we're going to interview her later. And
she'll know.
We're not going to tell her our sides of the story.
So later, it was a few days later, I think you had saw the note that I'd left, threw it away. You steamed about that for a few days. It was probably a week or two later whenever I said, because we were working at Jitney Jungle together. We were working at a grocery store together at this time. And so I saw you one night and I said, hey, did you get a chance to read that letter? And you said, no, I told you I don't.
You're making me sound like an awful person.
Well, you were back then.
Stop.
You said, I don't like that. So I just threw it in the garbage. And I said, please tell me you did not just throw that in the garbage. You said, I absolutely did. And I said, there wasn't a single pen stroke on any of those pages in there. It was literally your money back. And if you guys, I mean, Red Lobster's not cheap, especially so you probably spent $20. So
it's your fault because you set the precedent that you were going to send me long letters and I didn't feel like reading one. So
I know, but I did all of that over the years to set myself up for this one joke that I was going to pull, and you ruined it. No, so that was kind of it. It was funny, and it was actually funny at the time. And for our first 20 years of marriage, I mean, every time we bring up something, your mom likes to bring up that, I swear, I think it was your dad that slammed the door in my face, and then she kindly opened it the second time.
Did you just say my mom is kind?
She used to be kind.
To you.
No, she's good. She's good. So that was it. So we went, but I will say this, I'm not saying I was attractive or a pimp or anything back then, but I did go to a lot of proms. I was invited to a lot of proms for some reason. And I did not dance at any of the proms. I went to prom with your cousin, Robin, and if she ever hears this, she will vouch. I did not dance there. I was that insecure too.
But now, guys, if y'all ever see the video of my daughter's wedding, oh boy, he was out there cutting a rug. He was doing the wobble.
I was wobbling too.
He did a great job on the wobble. So I guess I've taught him a thing or two. Okay, so back to me being not so nice back then. If you're listening to this podcast and you knew me back in high school, I went to Forest Hill, graduated in 94. If you knew me back in high school, I would love for you to comment or message to say, do you agree with me that I wasn't a horrible person, or do you side with Bo that I was very mean and inconsiderate?
And give your reasons why.
Yes. Yeah, I would love to know your reasons why you think I'm not a horrible person.
I didn't say you were horrible.
I mean, you're the one that wouldn't leave me alone.
Here's the thing, though.
Don't forget, we got to leave time for Mom to talk.
I know, but here's the thing. You would always be like, I don't like you.
I liked you. I didn't want to be your girlfriend.
But then 2 weeks later, you'd come to my house, invite me to a prom, or invite me to a family reunion, or invite me to a movie, or invite me to what was a insecure 15-year-old, 17-year-old boy supposed to think whenever your words were saying no, but your actions were saying, I'm into this dude.
I liked being your friend. I didn't want to be your girlfriend.
Mm-hmm. I think 25 plus years of marriage says something different.
Well, maybe now. But that's a different story. That's the ski story when I decided.
Oh, yeah, we'll get to that.
The ski story is when I decided, you know what? Maybe I do want to be his girlfriend. So anyway, that is.
So let's bring your mom in now so she can tell her side of this story
without hearing what we've already said. Without hearing
what we said, see what she remembers about that. So without further ado, here is Martha.
So, Mom, Bo and I have a little bit of a disagreement about how we remember certain things.
You're wrong.
About the prom incident. So we want to hear you tell your story about what you remember happening about the prom incident.
I think I do remember him bringing something to the door. And I'm sure you had told me you didn't want to see him anymore, or that day, because
she's making this up. I can see by the look on her face.
I am not making this up. Because, yeah, you always mad at him unless you needed him to take you somewhere.
She's lying.
I'm sure that, yeah, he probably gave me something and I gave it to you. You always did that to that poor boy.
Well, he says you slammed the door in his face.
I said your dad did.
Probably your dad.
Why? He's dead. He can't even defend himself.
Because your dad used to get upset with you for treating him the way you did, but then he'd get upset with Bo for letting you do it. And if I'm not mistaken, Bo, I may be wrong, but did he not try to tell you once or twice that you shouldn't let her do that to you?
Even after we were married.
Well, yeah.
Y'all, Bo doesn't have a microphone, but he doesn't recall any of this. He thinks that my dad just told him he should marry me and spend the rest of his life with me.
And the sky fell in.
No, but seriously, what do you remember about don't talk about the ski trip yet because we haven't divulged that. But what do you remember about mine and Bo's junior high and high school years?
Okay, first I have to tell you what I remember most about Bo is and especially when we lived on Casa Vista. If I slammed the door in anybody's face, it was Daniel. Because Bo would knock on the door, ring the doorbell, and I'd open it and let him in, not realizing that little Daniel was behind him. And I'd go to close the door and then see Daniel there. Because
Daniel was how old about then?
Oh, my gosh. 8? No, not even that old, was he? But he was a little guy, and he always stuck so close to Bo that it was like he was glued to Bo's back. So there were several times that I'd let Bo in, and Daniel would come in behind him. When I'd start to close the door, I realized Daniel was there. I remember your dad used to get very upset with you because, especially at the time, you had a crush on a boy that we didn't think was right for you. And every time this boy made you mad, that's when you'd worm your way back to Bo for whatever date you needed at a particular time.
But always making sure Bo knew we were just friends.
You must be the only one that knew that.
Bo was like the perfect friend zone person for me.
You must be the only one that knew that because we never heard the word friend. We heard the word, I need a date.
But lessons learned here would be perseverance pays off because
on Bo's part.
Exactly. I always tried to push Bo into the friend zone, and he was very persistent, and he was very kind, and he was very affectionate, and always there for me no matter what. And I mean, I would say you ended up with a prize, but some days I feel like you don't feel like that. You're so going to edit this.
I'm not.
Anything else you want to ask my mother?
She has done well.
Now, can I tell the memories I have after y'all got married?
No, not yet.
No. When he was going to college and coming to my house during the day?
Not yet.
Okay.
We're not there yet. We haven't even made it to the ski trip yet.
Okay.
All right.
So because of the way we're having to record this, we're doing our part at one segment. We've done Martha's part at a second segment. So I'm not sure what she said, but I'm sure it was riveting, and I'm sure she sided with me. And
probably because she always does. She even told me one time if anything ever happened to us and we split up, she was going to go with you.
Well, I don't know what I think about that, but I'll take it. So yeah, no, I'm kidding, Martha. So I'm sure she sided with me. I'm sure that that it all makes sense to you all now. So next time, we have teased this in several of the episodes, but next time we are going to be talking about the Colorado trip. And this is not the Colorado trip that I was referencing earlier when I said I went to Colorado, but this was the very first time we ever went to Colorado, and it was on a college church trip.
So we'll call it the ski trip incident.
The ski trip incident.
So there's a lot of incidents in our lives that have brought us to where we are now.
Our whole marriage is an incident.
Wait till you get the kids incidents. But just don't forget to comment below what you thought about me in high school, but be nice. And
you can't taint it. You can't tell them to be nice.
I mean, I said keep it PG.
Be real.
But keep it PG. Don't use any bad words.
You know your friends are going to come to your rescue.
They won't. If they thought I was... Look at Obama.
All right. I need all of her friends that are her true friends. Be real.
Amy Graham should be out there.
Be real.
Amy was always my best friend. And Wendy Dungy. Who's not Wendy Dungy.
All my best friends. I'm going to call on my friends, Ron. Ron, I need you to step up I need you to step up
Oh,
here.
we're going to talk about the Ron incident in a couple of episodes from now. So,
I need you to step up, Ron.
Ron, you may want to wait till we talk about the Ron incident before you say anything.
I need my fellas to step up.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, thanks for listening, and see you next time. That's it for today's episode of Loving Our 25 to Life. We hope you enjoyed the conversation and found something to take with you on your own journey.
Remember, love is an adventure. Sometimes it's wild, sometimes it's calm, but it's always worth it.
Yes!
If you've enjoyed today's episode, be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share with someone who might need a little inspiration.
And don't forget to follow along for more episodes and vlogs documenting our travels, life lessons, and hopefully plenty of laughs.
Thanks for joining us. Until next time, keep loving life because it is the greatest adventure of all. Bye for now.
Bye.